God does not warn loudly. He reveals quietly. When the rule appears, it does not arrive as prophecy. It arrives as pressure. Pressure to change what has been tolerated. Pressure to correct what has been excused. Pressure to bring order where comfort has ruled. This is how the rule is revealed. Not through instruction, through demand. The mistake is assuming that revelation feels dramatic. It does not. It feels ordinary, inconvenient, unnecessary. That is why it is ignored. The rule does not show up as money. It shows up as responsibility. Responsibility without applause. Responsibility without reward. Responsibility before results. And because nothing improves immediately, the demand is postponed. Postponement feels harmless. It feels patient. It feels reasonable. But postponement is the response being measured. God does not test men with spectacle. He tests them with alignment. Alignment is not spoken. It is lived. The rule appears at a moment when a man is capable of change, but still comfortable enough to delay it. That moment is deliberate. If pressure were overwhelming, obedience would be forced. If reward were immediate, obedience would be transactional. But the test is neither. It sits in the middle. Change is possible, but optional. This is the moment that decides direction. The rule does not ask if you believe. It asks if you will govern yourself without incentive. Because wealth is never given to men who require reward in order to obey. Wealth multiplies whatever a man already is. Discipline multiplies strength. Disorder multiplies damage. So the system checks first. Can this man be trusted with more than he currently has? Trust is not proven by ambition. It is proven by restraint. Restraint is boring. That is why it filters. The first time the rule appears, it often asks for something small. A habit must end. A routine must change. A boundary must be enforced. A distraction must be removed. Nothing about this feels divine. That is the deception. Men are trained to look for signs, not standards. But God governs by standards. Standards do not shout, they wait. The rule is revealed when a man is shown that his current way of living cannot carry what he is asking for. This realization is subtle. It shows up as friction. More effort produces less result. Time feels compressed. Energy drains faster. This is not punishment. It is notification. The system is signaling instability. But instead of responding with order, many respond with emotion, frustration, confusion, negotiation. Later, soon, after things improve. These responses feel harmless. They are not. They reveal that obedience is conditional. Conditional obedience disqualifies trust. Trust must be absolute. This is why God reveals the rule once, because repeating it would reward hesitation. If instructions were repeated, delay would become strategy. So the system reveals and then watches. The watching is silent. No reminders, no pressure campaigns, no emotional reinforcement, just observation. Men misinterpret silence as permission. It is not. It is finality in formation. The rule was never meant to be understood intellectually. It was meant to be obeyed practically. Understanding does not create capacity. Alignment does. This is why men who know a lot but live loosely struggle more than men who know little but live with structure. Structure carries weight. Weight attracts responsibility. Responsibility attracts resources. This chain is fixed. Men who break it feel resistance. The resistance does not announce itself as opposition. it feels like heaviness. Life becomes harder to move through. Decisions take longer. Progress slows. This is the first consequence of ignoring the rule, but it is still gentle. Gentle enough to ignore again. The rule is often revealed during seasons that feel transitional. A new job, a new level of income, a new responsibility, a new opportunity. At these moments, order is required immediately. But men assume order can wait. They want to enjoy the change before restructuring. They want reward before restraint. That sequence never works. Wealth demands restraint first, because restraint proves governance. Governance proves readiness. This is why men who gain sudden money without discipline often lose it quickly. The money did not fail them. They failed the rule. The rule was already revealed. They ignored it, and struggle followed. Struggle does not always look like poverty. Sometimes it looks like instability. Sometimes it looks like anxiety. Sometimes it looks like constant effort without peace. Men mistake struggle for bad luck. It is not. It is misalignment expressing itself. The rule was not hidden. It was inconvenient. Clean this up, control that habit, enforce structure. Because it felt small, it was postponed. Because it was postponed, struggle followed. God revealed the rule once, and then allowed law to teach what instruction would have prevented. After the rule is ignored, struggle does not arrive suddenly. It settles in. Life does not collapse, it compresses. Effort increases, but progress slows. Days become fuller, yet outcomes become smaller. Energy is spent, but nothing compounds. This is the first confusion. Men assume the problem is effort, so they add more. More hours, more ambition, more prayer, more intensity. But intensity does not correct misalignment. Friction is the system's response to disorder. When the rule was revealed and ignored, the system adjusted expectations. It did not remove opportunity, it reduced capacity. It limited expansion, because expansion without structure produces damage. This is why struggle feels repetitive. The same problems return in new forms. The same ceilings appear in different environments. The same frustrations follow men across seasons. This is not coincidence. It is correction. The system is enforcing what instruction once requested. What could have been learned quietly must now be learned slowly. Struggle is not random suffering. It is uncorrected order demanding attention. Men misinterpret struggle as opposition. It is containment. Containment is not rejection, it is protection. The system does not allow disorder to scale. That is why effort alone stops working. Effort without structure leaks. Time leaks through disorganized days. Energy leaks through disdisciplined habits. Money leaks through unmanaged decisions. Focus leaks through uncontrolled inputs. None of this feels dramatic. That is why it persists. Men burn out not because they are weak, but because they are leaking. Burnout is the result of doing too much without order. Order preserves energy. Disorder consumes it. This is why men who ignored the rule feel exhausted without progress. They are running with resistance engaged. Resistance remains until alignment appears. This is where separation begins. Some men recognize the pattern. They stop blaming circumstances. They stop increasing intensity. They stop waiting for relief. They begin restructuring quietly. They enforce sleep. They govern spending. They structure time. They limit distractions. They simplify decisions. Nothing feels dramatic. That is why it persists. Men burn out not because they are weak, but because they are leaking.